Hey, good morning, guys. It's been a slow morning so far. We do have Clear One CLRO popping up. It's on its like third leg up, trying to hit highs around 950. Um, gonna wait for a little bit of a pullback to turn long mode on. I don't typically like to turn long mode on when it's extended and near its highs. That I believe is actually more conducive of short mode. Um, So let's see if we can get a pullback closer to around VWAP. We'll turn the long mode on, then just go enjoy a coffee and watch it play out. Looking at the daily chart here, is definitely a continuation move. Uh, 2 days ago, we saw a huge move from like $3 to almost 10. Prior day, um, the move was not as large, and the volume was substantially smaller. And then today, it looks like we're shaping up for a bigger move than yesterday. We're already at about 7 million shares in volume. Yesterday was 7.3 million, and the day before that was like 85. So definitely a continuation move. Let's just check again what Clear One's news catalyst is. So Clear One to merge with Cortingent, pivoting to Neurotech, acquiring Vivani. All right, so as we're getting around $9, I'm going to turn long mode on. All right, long mode is on under $9. Let's see what entry we get. Once we get an entry, I'll turn my camera off and we'll just watch it run. Could take anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. So that's the beauty of the tool overlay. It's fully automated. So now that I've clicked start on long mode, it's fully automated. So it will eventually get an entry. It's trying to take an entry on the dips. Worst case scenario, it'll take an entry on the 1 minute or 5 minute breakout. Currently, the 1 minute breakout's at 928. That would be a little high, but the entries are honestly not as important. Yeah, you would want your entry to be at least in long mode after a slight pullback. But the real meat of the algorithm is within the compound
Order
levels.
filled.
So there's a bad entry right there. Just completely shot up to 954, and that's where we got our first entry. It's totally okay because look, we have 100 shares and our max share size is 6,000, so that does not really matter. The thing that actually might really come into play is the market open. So that's in 7 minutes. Market open. Typically, when the market open, pretty much all brokers, including TradeStation, which in my opinion is the best, there's just such a overwhelming amount of data that gets that's flowing through at 9:30 on the dot. You have all those limit orders, and market orders are live, right? These could be people that have been holding the stocks for years or months or whatever, and the second 9:30 hits, a lot of their orders trigger, especially if there's a big gap up. So that can kind of look like the platform, in this case TradeStation, but it's similar for the other platforms. It can look like it freezes for 30 seconds. The beauty is this algorithm is not really
Order filled.
affected by that. So it will still look like it freezes on the screen, but it is running and it's taking the best trades anyway, even though it might look like it's frozen for 10 seconds. So anyway, we've got our cost basis down to 932, still only have 200 shares. and awaiting the market open in about 5 minutes. So we could see a halt down, which honestly is not bad, right? Like this algorithm will deal with halts. It's just going to take longer because you're going to have to wait for the halt to resume. Honestly, the best thing that can ever happen is getting caught in a halt up. I think that's where you can make the most money. This algorithm has a feature where during pre-market, obviously, it can only use limit orders, but in once regular session happens at 9:30, uh, the algorithm actually switches to use stop limits and stop markets specifically when to the upside. All right, so if we pass our final take profit zone, instead of just setting a limit order for max profit, it will set a stop market order just underneath that take profit zone. Usually it gets hit very soon and the trade's over, but sometimes it surges so fast and so high that it just rips past the stop market, and you basically have a full winner just sitting there waiting to get filled, but it won't fill unless it reaches that level. So it could just keep surging up, could surge into a halt up, and then you go from having like a nice winner to like a huge winner. And that's when you just assess, do I want to let this thing run maybe into multiple halts, or do I just want to, you know, take it off the table now? But you're basically sitting with a big winner that you can choose what to do with. There's really not much moving today. Yeah, so the float on Clear One is 1 million shares outstanding. Well, available to trade. That's what float is. Shares outstanding is how many shares are outstanding for that company. Float is the amount of shares that are readily available to trade. For example, you can have a certain percentage of the trade that is, or of the stock that is held by employees, C suite levels, and that obviously might have like a lockup schedule and is not available to trade on the secondary market for a certain period of time. All right, so we have not hit any of our compound levels yet. We've just started taking like small entry positions on the dip and some of the breakouts. So right now we're waiting for a compound TP or a compound SL. And the market opens in less than 2 minutes.
Order filled.
All right, we're only still at 300 shares out of a total of 6,500 max position. it'll really start adding as if we break above 10. But if we don't break above 10, then it will look to strategically double down under 9, starting under 9, 892. And the market opens in 3, 2, 1. This is where we'll see the chart and the tape freeze. This is most platforms just aren't able to handle all that price data on the chart. This typically happens for about 30 seconds. It won't affect the algorithm. So right now, the tape has resumed. Chart's still a little frozen. See, the tape is pulling back sharply from 10, but holding within that low 9 range. This could definitely halt, which would be fine because we're in such a low position size right now. Keep in mind, it can look like it's halting down and then just immediately halt up. It could look like it's going to halt up and then immediately halt down. So that's why regular session, if you're in a stock with a large position size, you might want to close that out, let like the first 5 minutes of the market open occur, and then re-enter a trade. If you don't have a huge position size open, then like I have 300 shares, so that's fine. Yeah, so since this gapped up, then you're going to have a lot of people that have been holding this for months, right? I'm looking back on the daily chart right now, and all of 2026, it's been under $7. So you can imagine there's,
Order
potentially
filled.
thousands of people that set a limit order above. Yeah, so it looks like we're halting down now. Yep. They set a limit order above their entry, and now that we've gapped above that, all of these limit orders are filling, which is just a cascading effect on the price, which is fine. So keep in mind, still only have 600 shares open, so I'm fine letting this halt down with an open position. Again, halts only happen during regular sessions, so I would advise, if you're new, don't have an open position that you're in it with large size and let it go from pre-market to regular session, because it can be very whippy and it can halt in either direction. If you have low share size, that's less of a problem, especially if you're using an algorithm. And if you just want to wait until 9:35, a lot of that would shake out what I was talking about with the market opens, and you got all these live market and stop limit orders that just get triggered. All right, so we're going to be in this halt for, it looks like it halted at 9:32. So probably about 5 minutes, 9:37. I am going to turn my camera off. We'll come back around then and see what happens here. It could very well halt again down, get us closer to the 750 level. That would be actually ideal, as it would start to build the position up and substantially bring my cost basis down, which is currently at 903. And then it would de-risk above my cost basis and then start to compound on the way up and eventually take max profit. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'll see it at 9:37.
Order filled.
All right, guys, we're back. All right, looks like it made its way all the way down to 823 before bouncing. We're still only in with 1,300 shares. If this breaks above our cost basis of now 870, which is pretty good, just slightly above the cost basis, it will it'll de-risk and take a little bit of profit, but we still have plenty of room to the downside. Our next compound add target's actually at 817 to the downside. So we actually just missed that on that wick on the 1 minute. Again, we're not doing anything. This is all automated. So again, our max share position size is about 7,000. If any of those downside targets exceed that, then it would turn it from a buy to a sell. So currently, both of those upside TP and downside SL targets are they are under max share size. So we still have room on both directions. So L. Williamson says, did you use Fable to help you write or improve on this algo? It's cool that yours went live. I'll have to check that out. This definitely was developed with the help of Claude Opus. I've been developing this for close to a year, so not Fable had not released yet. Still a lot of whippy action. Seeing if anything else is popping up on the scanners. We have BJDX with a ton of volume pouring in. It's about 20% below its highs. I'm going to turn my camera off, let this algo run a little bit more. Next order, I'll pop it on and we'll discuss what's going on.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right, guys. Looks like we came out with a $1,700 winner. Pretty good. Um, was hoping for it to kind of halt up and continue higher, but you could see it came back down and hit our stop market at around 967 for a $1,700 winner. Not bad. I have a little bit of a cushion, so I'm going to turn long mode back on. So you can see long mode is currently running, but the position has been exited, so it won't enter any more positions. So let's just wait if there's a little bit of a pullback back to VWAP. If it breaks above 673, I'll just turn it on. But ideally, we have a bit of a pullback. And then clicking start again will reinitialize long mode. And we'll see if it can go higher from there. Volume, we did see, if you look at that 5-minute chart, there's a volume spike, right? So it was declining volume, and then it just exceeded that declining wedge or descending wedge, and a ton of volume came in, 1.8 million shares. So I'm going to turn it back on since I have a little bit of a cushion. There you go. You can see the trading activity log has been wiped. Long mode is active. We're clicked within the 10-second chart. You can see the border is highlighted. So this could take, what was the last full
Order
trade?
filled.
That was about a half hour. So this could take a half hour, maybe even longer. The difference between, what Ross Cameron teaches for a scalping strategy is it's very, very quick. The trades are much quicker. They take anywhere from 10
Order
seconds to a
filled.
minute. This is more methodical, um, and it allows for larger ranges. So, the stock can really fluctuate, and the algorithm will work the price action, it'll work the cost basis so that it gets you in a position to profit. Um, and because of that, it doesn't use the level 2 data as much as a true scalper would, right? If someone's a true scalper and they're just looking to, quickly scale in after a breakout and then quickly scale out, they're definitely going to be looking at level 2 to see, where are the large buyers, where are the large sellers. And the one thing with rater trading is every order is actually a hidden order. So you'll see that the share sizes are in perfect lots of 100. That's by design. So, for example, the 1 minute dip just triggered. It's for 200 shares. Um, if that fills, you'll see the upside and downside compound levels, which are listed as TP and SL in the price box. Um, those are all in perfect round lot sizes. And because of that, the underlying order execution that occurs in TradeStation is a hidden order. So it won't show up in level 2, in anyone's level 2. So for example, my my 200 share limit order at 954, that's not in level 2. It's listed as a non-display order. It's a hidden order. So it doesn't really have an impact when you're using small share sizes, but once you have a share size of, like, let's say, 8,000, right? If that's my max position size, if somebody sees an
Order filled.
8,000 share sell order, especially when the stock is close to $10, that would be looked at as a fairly large order, right? So that could cause people to front run that and sell out early. Same thing on the bid side, right? If like there's a big dip that happens and hits my downside SL compound target, and let's say it's not nine, right now it would be 500 if we were to hit 926, right? Because 500, 400 my current quantity, 500 would get me to that 900 SL position size. No one's going to see that. And if it was large, let's say it was like 4,000 shares, 5,000 shares, if people see that on the bid, they may front run that and you're not going to get filled.
Order filled.
Looks like we almost halted again. It's a huge red candle. I'm going to go grab another coffee and turn my camera off.
Order filled.
All right, guys. So it looks like we're in another halt up. The algorithm was able to get me about 4,900 shares. Um, our TP sell limit is at 1098. So what we're hoping is when the halt resumes. So right, it halted at 1001. So at about 1006, it'll resume. We'd love to see that halt resume above 1098, somewhere in the 11s. What would happen then would exceed my max position size of 6,700 shares. We currently have 4,900. It would not buy again above 11. It would actually sell. So what would happen is, once it sees above 11, it would set a stop market. And if it would to then go below 1098, it would just sell that all for whatever profit we have. If it continues to go up, it could keep halting up and we would just have a large take profit sitting at 11. So 1006, it'll resume. I'm going to turn my camera off. Hopefully we have a good outcome.
Order filled.
All right, guys, we got above 11. Unfortunately, it didn't pump into a halt, so our stop market was filled. Probably about 2,000. Yeah, so now we're at 3,800 in total profit for the day. It is getting really extended at this point. So, you know, we do have a buffer, but just don't feel comfortable turning on long mode at this point right now. Um, so I will stop the algorithm. If we do see a pullback to 9, then I may turn it back on, but at this point, it's more likely to potentially halt down. So just going to look around for other opportunities, see what this does. I'm going to turn my camera off and just we'll see what it plays out with this.